from the very beginning of going back to fit, I wanted to follow my own prescription, which is the BCX boot camp, and also doing live exercise. So I knew I was going to do this with you. I thought we should do it together. Plus, like I said, I didn't feel like I was anywhere able to be your trainer at the time. You know, I needed as much help as you did, and I knew that we were going to lose the weight together. And then I would help you along the way with, you know, I can still tell you why we're doing stuff. I just couldn't do it any better than you, or if at all. So I know I helped you out from a nutritional standpoint and biomechanically, you know, making sure your form is right and that kind of stuff. But when it came to drive, that's why I paired you and I in boot camp together.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be sitting right next to you, and you were pushing and I was pushing, and I know with your knees hurting, there were some things that you couldn't do as well. And just with me being so out of shape, there were things I couldn't do either.
Right.
But I thought boot camp was really good. You know, we started training and losing the weight together, and at that point, we both needed to submit to somebody else, and that was Bonnie and Travis were our trainers. And they really were there to encourage us, but I think we were encouraging each other, even though we couldn't even talk because we were so out of breath. But, so for the first 2 months, that was the plan, was for us to lose weight together. Then after that, then I started training a little bit more one-on-one.
Right.
And I actually felt like we lost a little momentum doing that. You know, I kind of missed seeing you grinding it out with me there.
Right.
I didn't like to take a pause. You know, at that point we had grown so close, working out together. I had a hard time going from your workout partner to being your trainer. I think that was a tough thing for me.
Right. Yeah, it was different.
And I know I could tell that you were excited about doing the one-on-one training, and plus at that point your knees needed a break as well.
Yeah.
But at that point, we were still pound for pound losing weight. Every week we were losing a ton of weight. If I lost 3 or 4 pounds, I had a big weight loss. The next week you had a big weight loss. And we were both encouraging each other that just stick to the plan. You know it works if you stick to the plan. But boot camp together was by design, because I saw it work for everybody else. I've never had to lose that kind of weight, but at least I had the faith of seeing it. Probably 500 to 1,000 times I've seen our members in our boot campers lose that kind of weight and get in shape. And it was grueling though, because I remember you were even finishing before me. I remember I was still doing burpees and you're over there, come on, you can do it, you know. I'm thinking, why in the world am I the last person all the time? I started counting other people's reps. I'm like, she didn't finish, she's only at 8, I'm not last. You know, and one of my biggest things is keep your eyes on your own paper. And I'm like taking notes, and I'm going to giving them to the teacher.
I remember you saying.
Oh, I was mad. I'm
You
like,
better make sure those are 4 count mountain climbers.
right. I'm like, you know, I just felt so defeated all the time.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when it started turning around. I think after I lost probably the first 15 or 20 pounds. And I think the fact that I got down to my weight fast, I think that frustrated you a little bit. I don't know if it did or not, but... No? Because I felt like we lost, once I hit back down to 185, I was worried about you losing momentum, because then I chilled out for like 3 weeks.
That I didn't like, of course. I
Yeah,
had to
that's
chill
what I
out.
mean.
I wasn't mad that you lost it that quickly or before me. I was just like, now he's going to chill out and I have to still... Hey, we're supposed to be doing this together. Yeah.
And, you know, I've always led by example, and that's also why I wanted to do the boot camp. And I really think the other boot campers needed to see you and I grinding it out, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. And it also lets them know fat doesn't discriminate. Whether you're in shape or not, everybody's got to grind it out if you want to see a difference or a change. So I hit 185, and I remember I still wasn't where I wanted to be physically, but even though my weight was there. So I remember I told you I'm going to start eating a little bit more and start training a little harder in a different way. And I felt like you and I kind of had this disconnect for 2 or 3 weeks. Not bad, but I think a lot of it was just me.
Must have been you.
Because I wasn't leading by example anymore. I felt like I wasn't, like, kind of like you're still up there fighting the war, and I went back to the mess tent to get some food, you know?
Yeah.
So 3 weeks later, one, I wasn't satisfied with where I was at, and I thought I could push the weight loss even more. But I remember also during that time, your weight loss started to steady out. And so then I think we decided to finish off with a big bang and do boot camp again. So the last month, it was only 4 weeks, right?
It wasn't very long. It was like we kept on saying the 3rd. Yeah, it was like last month.
So the last 4 or 5 weeks, we jumped back into boot camp, and I remember both of us got ramped up again. And then we had, I got pneumonia 2 weeks before we were about to do this half marathon. And you spanked me in the half marathon.
No.
And they made it look like we were pretty even.
We were even.
There was no even to it. Steve, you still back there? I'm like calling Uber, trying to get a car to catch up to you. You were a rock star, man. You were a rock star the entire time. But yeah. people ask me if I would do that again.
No.
Not so much.
I know that answer already. Nope, running is not your thing.
Well,
Tasha
we were
could
running.
go.
We
like,
were
I'm not leaving you.
What we were. The guy. There's a guy walking back with a medal at the marathon, and he's like, "You guys are almost there. You know, it's just right around this corner."
Oh, then we got
3 miles later, I'm like, dude, that was what corner are you talking about?
That
we
is
got,
really round in the corner.
the way they routed it. Remember, we could see the finish line, and we're like running away from it. We're like,
the end was like a zigzag up and down. Yeah.
by the time I got there, even the paramedics, they were leaving. They were taking the balloons down. The band was packing up.
The waters were all going.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And then there's people with their medals running to their cars, and I'm like, Bonnie, you're gonna have to go get the car and bring it over here. I couldn't even walk to the car.
I remember towards the end when you were.
But I will say, we didn't really train for that. My biggest point with that was if you're in shape, if you're doing boot camp, if you're doing HIIT training, you're doing open environment drills, and you're ready for anything, I think you should be able to run 13 miles. And it was brutal. I think we would have done better if we would have trained for it. But the point is, I mean, you kicked butt. You finished a little bit before me, but I think a lot of that's because you waited on me. But we were turning 12-minute miles for 13 miles. That
was good.
I was happy with that.
Me too.
Never do it again.
I'll never forget me. I'm like, Miguel, he wants me to do single digits, remember? It's like, how in the heck am I doing a single digit on a half marathon? I'll never forget. You're like, all right, we're going to do the loop twice. I'm like, oh, he's not a runner. He's just a trainer. He thinks I can do this loop twice.
But so that was
nothing.
we did 10
awesome.
miles and we did great.
Yeah.
But then again, that's after I got sick.
Yeah.
Your knees were flared up and hurting you.
I know, praise God. They're pretty good now.
Yeah, that was just brutal training.
A lot of the float and brutal training. Yeah.
How did you feel when your first few days of boot camp or that whole process?
I felt really good the first because you were with me for boot camp. I was very, I was comfortable because I knew I wouldn't be the only one. Like, we were so sweaty. We were
the
so
most
sweaty in that class.
You were a sweater. I was more of a turtleneck. Turtleneck.
Yeah, oh my gosh, just the two muffins. That's just as corny. Okay, so
They weren't corn muffins.
You were just as sweaty as me. We were both like out of breath very quickly. My knees weren't going as high when we were jumping. Like nothing. You were right there with me, so I didn't feel so embarrassed. But I liked that kind of workout. I don't know. I love to work out. That's the funniest thing is that I was overweight, but I loved working out. I don't know.
It was tough for me because everybody in that room was almost prior boot campers. I had taught them. I was standing over them at some point.
Yeah.
Screaming at them to do more. And at any time, I'd get down and race them doing burpees and that sort of thing. And now here I am, 3 burpees and I'm out. I'm like, somebody's got to stop. But it was hard for me. It was hard for me because of the condition I was in. It was hard for me because everybody in the room is somebody that I've pushed to be there and follow me by example. Now it's like, little help. And it was very humbling for me, and it's exactly what I needed.
I think they enjoyed it.
No,
Not in a mean sense.
No,
No.
maybe. Come on.
Okay, a little bit they liked
Some of
it. Some of them, yeah. But you were probably pretty hard on them, so.
So what was the difference of having your trainer be your partner?
The difference between you, instead of just standing over me and counting my reps, I feel,
I'm so good at that, too.
Yeah, I mean, just standing there. I feel like you knew what I was going through, and you could feel it, and it's sort of like an automatic partner. I don't know.
My disconnect was, and here's what I learned is, this is my sickness, is sometimes I like working out. I like the way the burn feels. I like being out of breath. I like that gumption kind of thing. And when I was heavy doing that, I didn't like the burn. I didn't like being out of breath. I mean, there was nothing about it I enjoyed. Nothing.
Really?
Yep. And
but now do you see why some heavy people don't even want to go into the gym because that's how they feel?
It's very defeating, and it's such a slow process. One of the things I'd say is you just gotta be patient with the whole thing. Start moving and be patient.
Yep.
It doesn't come off altogether. But once I decided this is going to be a long haul, then I started to be okay. But I don't know what I was thinking. I honestly, like you see JJ going up that rope, that's kind of what I thought I would do. I'm going to shimmy up the rope and do some pull-ups.
I know. I was very impressed.
By the time I get down, I lost 3 pounds and. Man, it was tough. It was tough.
Oh, it was. It was worth it.